that you and I need to be made aware of. Then materialism is a denial of the existence of God. Materialism is an atheistic theory. Polytheism, that there are many gods, that there's not one God but many gods, is an atheistic theory. Idealism and realism is an atheistic principle. Pantheism, that everything is God. Deism, we hear much about that. We hear the men say that the founding fathers were all deists. Some of them might have been, but all of them certainly were not. Positivism, monism, dualism, and pluralism. How often do we hear that phrase? We live in a pluralistic society. Pluralism is a denial. It is an anti-theistic theory. It is an atheistic theory. Now, with that in mind, I want to use today the text that I read a moment ago in 2 Peter 2 and verse number 1, even denying the Lord that bought them. Even denying the Lord that bought them, and bring upon themselves swift destruction. On the broadcast yesterday, I dealt with atheism. The atheist is positively negative. The atheist says there is no God. But now it's impossible for the atheist to be able to say positively, absolutely there is no God, because the atheist does not know everything. The atheist has never known everyone that has ever lived. It's not possible that the atheist could say, I positively know there is no God, when the atheist has not known everyone that has ever traversed the earth since the creation of Adam. Secondly, we move into agnosticism. The agnostic simply says there is not sufficient ground for me to say whether there is a God or not. His question is, does God exist? The atheist says God does not exist. The agnostic questions, does God exist? Now, those of you that have read and studied in days gone by understand that the leading agnostics of the past were Sir William Hamilton, Dean Mansell, Herbert Spencer, and Huxley. And it was Huxley that coined the term agnosticism about 1870. It's interesting that when Huxley was writing and denying the faith around 1870, he had a tremendous influence on two Anglican bishops, B.F. Westcott and John Fenton Anthony Hort. Westcott and Hort. And the Westcott and Hort Greek manuscript was published in 1881 along with the English Revised Version, a hotbed of apostasy and a hotbed of infidelity. As far as I'm concerned, Westcott and Hort both died and went to hell. Neither man was saved. And within 11 years of Huxley coining the term agnostic, we have a corrupt manuscript, Greek manuscript produced, called the Westcott and Hort Greek text. Now, sometimes, and I've dealt with this on the radio over the years, words are very important, and it is important for you and me to use the right terminology. That's why I believe a King James Bible, without any hesitancy, is a perfect document, because there are no weak words in the King James text. The King James text is powerful and authoritative. It is of absolute authority and of absolute power. You and I recognize that. And it is interesting that we should not mingle our language together. Now, we have skeptics, and we use the term skepticism. And then we have agnostics, and we use the term agnosticism. But there is a difference. Skepticism deals with a philosophy. It denotes a varying degree of doubt. It may or it may not work. It might be supportable and it might not. Whereas agnosticism is not dealing with philosophy, but rather is dealing with an object. And agnosticism doesn't say it may or may not work. That's skepticism. I'm skeptical about this. Agnosticism says he does or he does not exist. Now, here's the problem with agnosticism. If we know that we are, we cannot know what we are, the agnostic says. And if we can assert their existence, we are ignorant as to their essence. Now, that's a whole lot of $5 terminology for simply this. The objective of agnosticism, now listen to me, the objective of agnosticism is to discredit certitude. It is to discredit certitude. You and I, in the field of human knowledge, I know I am alive. I'm breathing right now. I'm preaching to you. I'm on the Bright Spot Hour. Today, if all the programs are where they're supposed to be, is the 19th day of February, the year 2025. I know that. I'm certain about that. I am certain about that. Agnosticism attempts to discredit certitude. So we find this in the university system and in much popular philosophy today, in much popular culture today. It is to discard reasonable proofs. So the heart of agnosticism is simply this: there is no absolute truth. Now again, we rear our children in Sunday school and we send them off to the state university, and there they are indoctrinated with evolution and agnosticism and atheism, and they come home and they doubt everything mom and dad taught them. They doubt everything that the preacher preached to them. They doubt everything that is certain. Today we have, with the transgenderism, we are teaching men you can't be sure you're a man, and women you can't be sure you're a woman. How do you know you might be a man in a woman's body or a woman in a man's body? It is to bring man to the point that there is no absolute truth, denying the Lord that bought them. There is, according to them, no absolute truth. Now, we find this in society today. We hear this phrase, follow the science, follow the science. Yes, there is anthropogenic global warming. We follow the science. And yet, scientifically, I'm a man, and yet they say, well, you might be a woman. And my wife is a woman, and they say, yeah, scientifically, she's a woman. Biologically, she's a woman. And they say, well, I don't know, she might be a man. Follow the science while denying it. We have these cheap law degrees called constitutional lawyers. It's kind of the bottom rung. It sounds noble. I'm a constitutional lawyer. You can't question me. Barack Obama is a constitutional lawyer. And you'll find, by and large, that most of these fellows with constitutional law degrees spend all their time destroying the Constitution. And you question them, they say, well, you can't question me on that. I am a constitutional lawyer. That's a very cheap degree. It's a bottom rung law degree, kind of an entry-level lawyer can get a constitutional law degree, and they say follow the Constitution while destroying the Constitution. So you and I follow the laws of science that God in creation has established. The laws of gravity, the laws of thermodynamics, all of the order in creation, all the work of creation that God has accomplished. The created universe is orderly in every aspect. The created universe is orderly because God is a God of order. So you and I can observe that summer follows spring, fall follows summer, winter follows fall, and spring follows winter. We observe this. We observe in our livestock that some small livestock carry their unborn kids and ewes for 5 months, and others for 9 months, and others for 10 months. The hen will sit on her eggs for 21 days. Another species of bird will sit on their eggs for 25 days. Another species of birds will sit on their eggs for 30 days. And those things are replicated over and over and over and over. Now listen, this is what this does. You and I, observing the work of creation, we observe the handiwork of God, and we come to a rational conclusion. And we say, the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. And by observation, we say the earth spins on its axis. We come to these rational conclusions because we observe what God has done. This is called absolute truth. Absolute truth. This is knowledge. The agnostic says there is no absolute truth. Now here's the problem with agnosticism. Same problem with atheism. A man says, oh, I'm an atheist. Don't bother me. I'm an atheist. I don't believe in all that religion stuff. I'm an atheist. Until he's on a crashing airplane and there he says, oh God, save me. There are no atheists in foxholes. If the agnostic is going to stick to his principles, then he is going to discover that he can know nothing. His consciousness is confirmed by the present moment. But then he says, but I remember when. But if he's truly an agnostic, he doesn't know if his remembrance of when is accurate or not. He can't believe in his memory because he knows nothing at all. He can't believe in any certain sensations that he receives physically or mentally or emotionally because, again, he doesn't know if they are real or not. No wonder we have a mental health crisis in the United States. That's what they're telling us. We have a mental health crisis. No wonder we're having a mental health crisis. We've got a bunch of people walking around and they don't know if they are or are not. They don't know if they have been or they're going to be. They know nothing. They know nothing at all. Louis Perry Schaeffer said it like this, and I'll conclude with this on the program today. Louis Perry Schaeffer said, agnosticism is better expressed by the phrase, I will not believe, than by the phrase, I cannot believe. Let me give that to you again. Louis Perry Schaeffer said, agnosticism is better expressed by the phrase, I will not believe, than the phrase, I cannot believe. Remember what Peter the Apostle said? Even denying the Lord that bought them. And the reason they deny the Lord that bought them is because they fear being held responsible before a thrice holy God. My friend, if you've never been saved, I beg of you, I urge upon you, believe on the Lord Jesus Christ today, and thou shalt be saved.
Post Office Box 4, Greenville, South Carolina 29602. This is Mark Ferguson.